there's only one place we can start a rookie list, and it's not anybody's top 10 draft pick or a household name. Well, he wasn't anyway. He certainly is now, because, guys, Puka Nacua is no longer a feel-good story. Yeah, it was cute last week. He catches 10 balls for 119, and oh my God, who is this guy? He's Puka Nacua. That's who he is, the 5th-round pick out of BYU. 15 catches for 147 yards in Sunday's loss to San Francisco. It's a rookie record for a single game. 25 catches for 266 yards in his first 2 games. Also a league record. And again, this is not a guy that was drafted in the top 10. This is not a guy that anybody other than a diehard Rams fan and Peter Schrager knew up until about a month ago. Absolutely incredible. Did I mention he did it against San Francisco? You know, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, ring a bell. I don't know what to say. Like, it was cool last week. It's a bona fide badass story in week 2. And from the looks of it, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, really with some impressive chemistry with Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp on his way back eventually, as our friend Mark Sanchez pointed out earlier in the show. I think this is going to be a trend all season long, and I'm absolutely blown away. 5th-round pick, BYU, Puka Nacua, I see you. I promise this is a different list from last week, but forgive me if it sounds familiar. Bijan Robinson, also worth a shout out in week 2. The counting stats speak for themselves. They're obvious. 23 touches for 172 all-purpose yards. But the thing that made week 2 special for Bijan Robinson for me, again, the 4th down I mentioned earlier in the show, 2:07 to play, 4th and 1 from the Green Bay 23. Falcons could kick and take the lead, but they don't. And if they don't get it, they lose the game more than likely. Arthur Smith puts the ball in Bijan Robinson's hands on a toss sweep. He needs 1. He gets 7. That's the elusiveness. That's the skill. That's why you draft him in the top 10. Outstanding performance. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about him on a weekly basis. One more repeat, and it's entirely deserving. It speaks to Anthony Richardson's start on Sunday that he made this list despite actually just playing in 1 quarter against Houston. I checked in with Chris Myers and Robert Smith on the call about how Richardson's day was abbreviated.
You know, Dave, obviously Richardson, you right away impressed by his physical ability. We love talking to him, man, a few words and a lot of action. We hope he's okay in concussion protocol. But what's the ceiling on a guy built this way who also seems to have the right attitude for an NFL quarterback?
I don't know why there needs to be a ceiling for Anthony Richardson. And, you know, you talk about the size, man. When he first steps into the room and you hear about how big a guy like that is, and you're like, wow, guy's big. But then when you watch him, watching him week 1 against Jacksonville, one of the things that you noticed was that he turned some throws down, some opportunities down the field that he could have taken, that he did take early in the game today. And I think that's going to be key in his development. How well does he understand? How well does he anticipate the throws that he needs to make? But of course, as we saw today, how well can he protect himself?
Yeah, I mean, he's an event waiting to happen, entertaining. When we asked him about how far he could throw a football, he said 75 yards, but I could probably go 80 if I really tried. We hope that he's okay, but he's certainly Anthony Richardson, a guy to watch.
The truth.
91 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns in 16 minutes of play. Speedy recovery. Anthony, we're pulling for you, bud, because already less than 2 games in, looking like one of the league's most entertaining players. Incredible. How about another receiver standout? Plenty of them in this draft class. Marvin Mims. I am starting to see why there was hype around the speedster out of Oklahoma, the young Denver Bronco. Only caught 2 passes in the loss to Washington. They went for 53 yards and a 60-yard touchdown. Double the guy. I don't know. Put a safety in cloud coverage behind the corner. Do something, because I have a feeling, having seen this guy in action, Sean Payton is going to find ways to get him involved. I do want to shout out the defense. It's not all about the fantasy stats, y'all. Shout out to a draft nerd favorite, Emmanuel Forbes, in the same game, opposite side of the football. The Washington Commanders cornerback, drafted 16th overall, 3 tackles, 2 pass breakups, and in game number 2, He gets his first career interception, intercepts Russell Wilson. I think that'll do for a guy that a lot of people doubted because of his slight size. He knows how to get his hands on the football. Go look at his college stats. Getting his first pick in his second career game, I have a feeling we're going to see a few more. Really pumped to see that from Emmanuel Forbes. I got one more to mention. It's an honorable mention because, strictly speaking, John Metchie III is not a rookie. He was drafted last year. And strictly speaking, I wouldn't say that he balled out. He caught one pass for 17 yards in Houston's loss to Indianapolis. I don't care. Because if you're not familiar with his story, John Metchie played in his first meaningful football game in several years on Sunday. He battled leukemia in 2022. That's why he didn't have a rookie season. Was diagnosed with leukemia after being drafted by the Houston Texans. That's after dealing with an ACL tear that he suffered during his college career. I don't care if he caught 0 balls. Being in uniform, playing in an NFL game after that fight, I think it's incredible. I'm so pumped for John Metchie. Absolutely want to give him a mention. John, cool story. Keep it pushing, dude.